Good afternoon, how are y'all? I'm gonna go ahead and hand out two things. One of them will be a piece of scrap paper. The second one will be the skill sheets that you need at the end of this presentation. Guys, I tried to adjust the AC before y'all got here. Is everything comfortable there? All right, at any point, if it gets to be uncomfortable, too cold, too hot, just let me know. And we'll get that taken care of either by break or when we can, okay? I know we just introduced ourselves, or y'all selves to the meeting. I'm gonna go ahead and introduce myself. I am James Shadowens. I'm currently employed with Dixie County EMA Fire for about a year and a half now, just recently promoted full-time. Been in the fire service for about 20 plus years. I've also got 9 years experience with TI Highway Response. Training locations, if anybody's got to use the restrooms are directly behind us down the hallway. There's two, the first one to the right and then the second door to the right as well. If we have an emergency for any reasons, there's 3 exits. One's over to the left, one's to your immediate right, and then the other one is straight down the hallway as well to the bay, and take another left and the exit's on the left. All right. Drinks and foods prohibited. Cell phones, at this time I ask if you can turn them off or turn them on silent. Keeping in mind that things do go on business-wise, there's duties to be answered. Just be sure to get up, take care of what you got, and return as soon as you can, okay? All right, the expectations for this class, we're going to learn about forcible entry. We're going to do the skills on what we have learned to be able to complete the task, and we're going to have a quiz at the end. And then also, hopefully, you guys will take a better understanding about forcible entry and how it's used. All right, class objectives. We're going to define forcible entry, why it is needed. We're going to identify the tools to do that task, and we're going to look at the different constructions of some doors and windows. Today, we're going to focus more on the doors, and then any methods or techniques to complete that task. Before we move on, does anybody know the definition or, well, I guess the termination of forcible entry? Anybody got any background in this presentation or anything? All right. We're going to find the definition of forcible entry. It is the technique used by emergency personnel to gain entry into buildings, vehicles, aircraft, or any other area of confinement when the normal means of entry is either locked or blocked. Forcible entry should only be used, again, when the normal entries are either locked or blocked. We're always going to use any accesses that's readily available. So if you know that, hey, the owners are here, doors unlocked, whatever, we're going to use that. We're not just going to go in there and tear up their property, okay? In the end, we're there to save lives, save property, and just keep the integrity of the fire department. You never know, there are some people's mindsets, when they get out here, it's, hey, let's tear some things up. So just keep in mind that this is somebody's property, and that we want to do as minimal as possible. Sometimes the fire department does get a bad eye in the community because when they see you tearing their stuff up, that's all they see. They don't understand why you're doing it. So we need to just try to keep things at a minimum damage because we don't want them to classify us as just being reckless and don't care. Alright, forcible entry is a crucial aspect in the firefighting. As firefighters, we play an important role in keeping our community safe. Through forcible entry techniques, there again, we can gain the access into the structure swiftly, saving time and potential lives. All right, the reasoning for forcible entries. All right, for house fires, a lot of times, depending on what time of day it is, family owners, their kids, they may be going out to town, either eating supper, they may be at work, just maybe a time that they're not at home. So if we get anything, if it's really smoke showing, fire showing, it's all game, we're going in, okay? A lot of times, medical emergencies, most fire departments throughout the U.S. Run medical calls. So if something was to happen, if somebody was to call 911, they somehow lost connection, you get there, nobody's answering the door, you look in and you see a subject laying on the floor unresponsive. At that point, we're going to use our means of forcible entry to get in there to make sure they are alive, that they're breathing, and try to assist them in any way possible. Fire alarm investigations. It's going to be a 50-50 chance there again. If your homeowners are at home, you get there, they grant you access to go in, that's fine, everybody's out of the house. You know, go in and do your thing, investigate, and then we'll get back out on the truck and get ready for the next call. A lot of your fire investigations, if you pull up, say a fire alarm, was used a single-story structure at the time, nothing visible, no smoke outside, no visible flames. You go around, do your 360, looking at windows, you kind of look in, and there's no fire, no smoke, or anything like that, okay? Or gas detection. You know, if it's some carbon monoxide alarm, we don't know if anybody's even at home or whatever. If it's a fire alarm, of course, we want to make sure their stuff's not on fire. If it's an active fire alarm, no proper codes of use, we need to figure out if their house is on fire or not. So the only way to really determine and leave that scene 100% is to make entry into that house. Now, we're there under a certain statute through the state that grants us permission to go in, forcible entry, using minor or to minimize damage. Because anytime we force our way or obstruct somebody's home, we need to keep it to minimum damage where we can secure it when we leave. So as far as that is how that goes. And another one would be potentially parents getting a rush all the time and they've locked their kid or their dog in the car. Nowadays, animals are just as important as kids. You know, if a kid's locked in the car, depending on the temperature outside, whether it's 100 degrees or -8 degrees, we're going to get in there and get that kid. Either we're going to bust the window or do something. Okay? But always, when you have to do forcible entry, we're going to tear up something, think outside of the box. What can we do that's going to be minimum damage or at least low cost? So we don't want to go in and bust it and tear down their door when all we got to do is bust a little glass panel out and reach in and unlock the door. Okay? Or the windows, instead of busting their windows out, especially the one that's got the double pane that slides up, take your Halligan tool, pop that lock, get up there, just climb in, look, just make sure that we secure it all the way back. All right. So to do forcible entry, we have to have tools. I'm sure that you got that big stout guy that's on your department or girl that can just walk up and think that they can just kick the door in or ram it with their shoulders. It's a little bit more difficult than that. Plus, you take the chance of getting yourself hurt. So we're going to use the tools that we have on hand to work smarter, not harder. Alright, so the different tools, this one we really don't carry, but it's a useful tool that's usually on commercial buildings. And I think I'll show a picture of it here in a minute. But knock boxes. Anybody heard of it? Alright. So usually on a commercial building, like I said, we'll go over in just a second. They house the keys to get in after hours. Alright. Generally, it's not for the public. The public don't know. You know, you don't need the public knowing over there, getting in, going, take things out of the store, or vice versa, or going through personal files, or whatever the county or government buildings may have. So the second one is going to be your most common one. Is going to be your halogen and flathead axe. We've got pry bars, pighead axe, pipe poles. I don't have a picture in here, but when you go to bust down a window, a pipe pole may be good for the condition of your home. If it is on fire, it gives you a longer and safer distance away to bust a window out. We got your hand saws, power saws, and then you got your cutters, bolt or reciprocating. All right, I put reciprocating saw because it is a cutter, but it's also a power cutter saw as well. Hydraulic tools. We have extrication all the time on cars, right? Why can't you use it on a house? Or something with a steel construction. Most fire departments carry oxygen and acetylene tanks for torches. So we're going to start with the most commonly used tool. Like I said, is your halogen and your flathead. A flathead axe is usually for cutting, wedging your door to kind of keep the progress that you made, and it's also used as a striking tool with the flat butt part. Halogen tool is more for your purchase points and your prime, and together they're known as the set items. So that makes the combination of a set of items. All right, so working components. We'll start with the halogen bar. You've got your pick, you've got your adze, and then you've got your strike zones, okay? This is what you're gonna, when you strike at the end, something that's flat, okay? You have your shaft, of course the shoulders of the forks. Usually on down, you'll have a set line that's usually engaged. This one don't have it. That set line is to basically guide your depth and to let you know that when you do go to the enforceable entry on the door, you're at the appropriate depth. Okay? Then you got your gaps and your forks. Okay? So, gap line on the outside. Okay? On the inside, it's called a crotch. Like I said, once you get into a certain level to that door, you'll get to about, you see it right here in the picture here. You got that notch, it's right there, just about where the end of the crotch is on this halogen tool. That's another way to let you know how far you're in. All right, your axe. Of course, we know it as the head of the axe and the handle. Goes a little further. You've got your butt, or your knob, your grip, your throat of your handle. You got the belly of the handle. You have your butt, your eye, and then you've got your bit or blade, and then the very end is your cutting edge. All right, so that's your diagram of your flathead axe. Like I said, a set of irons is your most commonly used tool that we're going to use. Any questions on that? All right, other tools, crowbars. Your pry bars are going to usually have the fulcrum, the curve to kind of give you that lever to kind of pry and pull up. Your straight bars or crowbars are more straight. Now I will tell you, down here at the end of your crowbar, it bevels too. give you kind of a fulcrum pull, but it's going to be kind of hard with that there. The prop bars will have the claws at the end where you can kind of wedge around that object to kind of get it up. Big head axe. Got my brake one in here. It's pretty good to use for definitely piercing an object. You can also, if you've got enough leverage, when you pierce in, if you pull it the right way, here, it'll give you kind of a leverage to kind of pull something. Really can't, they don't have a flat butt to use as a striking tool, but what you can do, if that's all you have, is turn it to the side and use that face. So you can still strike, okay? And then, of course, your bolt cutters. A lot of times we'll go out to the rural areas. You'll have a gate at the end of their driveway that stays locked. You'll have some gated code. There's usually some instructions. Either 911's got it noted in their code, or they simple turn over the belt and it'll automatically open the gate. And that always don't work, but it should. I think it's a code required for emergency responses. Also, if you have a garage, a cellar, or something that they got, a shed, maybe you can gain access, that they have a padlock, bolt cutters are the way to go. Grass tires, you know, if you can't find a gate, if it's a big property, the quickest way, if there is a fire, there again, you're covered under the TCA codes, that we can take their fence, cut it, drive off in, put the fire out. But you gotta make sure that you have the necessary means of why you're doing it, and the reasons why. All right, we got hand saws. They're great. They can wear you out in some cases, okay? Don't let it fool you. The next one is your chainsaw and your K-12 saw. I've got those here. If anybody don't know what they are, or your chainsaw here, this is a K-12 or a concrete saw. You can cut concrete, steel, or even wood. The only thing is make sure you're using the right rotary blade for that. Now they do have some carbon tips that I think will cut through metal and wood. But just know what you're using. I would suggest for safety purposes, if you got a task and you've never used one, just be sure to let them know, hey, I've never used one. Surely there's somebody else on the scene that can use it. In your downtime to learn is when you can set up something to kind of figure those tools out if you've never used them. Okay? But always training is the best way, and like I said, just make sure that if you do use it and want to practice on the scene, make sure you have somebody there that can watch and knows what's happening, what's going on. Reciprocating saws. In the picture here, we've got battery operated. A lot of things are going battery operated nowadays. And then we've got the power cord, reciprocating saw or sawzall, however you want to call it. If you do have the power cord, make sure you have the generator and the extension cord length that you would need to provide power to the source. Because if we have a working structure fire, most likely we have going to call the electric department to have that power shut off. So you're not going to be able to use their outlet. Portable generators, or some trucks have the built-in generators. Like I said, just make sure you have enough extension cord to run those. Nowadays, everybody's going to battery. It makes it so much quicker. Run it down and pop it in battery. All right, then we're going to get into your hydraulic tools. There again, today's world makes it a lot easier when you can just grab something and get to work. So on the left side here, you've got your hydraulic tools. You've got your spreaders, your cutters, your scissors. You've got a combi tool that does both. It'll spread and cut. And then you've got your rams for extensions. If you got to push something out of the way, cribbit or whatever, those will help you out. Unfortunately, with this one, back in the day, you've got to have the hydraulic hose and you've got to have the unit to pressurize and dump that pressure. And then over here on the left, you have today's modern world of e-tools. They run off a battery. Just like I said, when you run it down, grab another battery and roll. Just make sure you charge it back up for the next call. The difference of these two, most people, like I said, knowing your tools, the traditional way that's still being used today, that runs probably about the torque pressure of 5,000 pounds per foot. Battery tools are about 10,000 PSI. All right, so review. Is forcible entry a crucial aspect in firefighting? True or false? True. All right, when do we use forcible entry?
Need access when alternate source is not there.
When it's locked or blocked, right? Okay. All right, what are 3 common types of forcible entry tools that we would use? Sounds good to me. Right on. All right, so here we got some Knox boxes. Basically what it is it's a secured lock box. They're usually within a couple feet of the entrance, commonly found on commercial buildings. Some of the homes may have similar stuff or something similar or a key location. There again, if they're pretty proactive in the emergency response to their address, they're going to have that noted at dispatch, a special key with the code of their box and where it's at. All right. So before we do anything, and we keep it simple, we're always going to try before you try. The worst thing in the world is to go in and bust somebody down to somebody's house and it's unlocked, right? So I'm going to show you this video and just observe and we'll talk about it right after the video. So what do y'all think?
First of all, you kick it down.
So, yeah. So obviously they didn't observe what their door is, okay? So we'll play it again. The guy's kicking it, he's giving it all of his might. Other guy walks up and he'll say, hey, let's try this door. Come to find out, he's kicking the door in and the door opens outwards. Okay? So I just thought that was pretty funny. In the fire service, we kind of mess around with law enforcement. Of course, you know, these look like military guys or SWAT members. I would say military, but a lot of them are in the military stuff. So I just thought that was kind of like a little funny. All right. So types of doors, we got inward opening doors, outward opening, sliding doors, revolving doors, and overhead doors. I'm going to kind of show you the figures. The one on the left is your revolving door. You would see those more in like convenience centers, or not convenience centers, the hotels, things like that. Your sliding glass doors are in modern homes, especially mobile wide. The thing about the sliding doors is they've got the metal framing and they've got the glass, but you've got a lock here and you may have a secondary lock up top of the bottom. Most likely, if you're going to try to go through there in an emergency situation, just bust the glass and unlock it over the door, whatever. And then over here, you got your overhead doors. There's many types of those. This one here is a garage door. It's in panels. You've got some that are steel roll cage doors, and then you've got some telescoping ones that will go up and kind of telescope in. And then I don't have that picture. And then you've got the old-fashioned tilt, where when you open it, the whole door kind of comes out, and it just kind of folds in. So your two modern doors that we're going to talk about today is your in-swinging doors, out-swinging doors. Just keep it simple. One you walk into, the other one you have to open, and it comes outside, and then you walk in. So we're going to talk about this. How do we identify these doors? Does anybody know how to identify them? The quickest way is your hinges. Gotcha. If you've got an inward door, then the hinges are going to be hidden. You're not going to see them. If it's an outward swinging door, then you're going to see the hinges on the outside. So these door frames, there's two style wood frame door. There's stopped, and then there's rabbit. The stopped door frames will have the piece of wood attached to the frame to stop the door from swinging in too far. So basically, your in-swinging doors, when you bring it up to it, it's going to be that wood piece in the center of the frame that stops that. Okay? Out-swinging doors are the same way. They're just, like I said, you'll access one quicker to the other. All right, you got your metal frame doors, like I said, slide doors, steel doors. They're going to be a little bit more difficult to force open, and they look like the rapid door frames. All right, inward doors. The design, they're going to be made of three things. They're either wood, steel, or glass. They have the exterior frames with the stop rabbit or rabbit casing. The locking mechanism range for standard are the doorknobs and deadbolts and sliding latches. So when we go to do a forceful entry on an in-swinging door, you're not going to see if there's any secondary or third locking devices. They're either with a chain, a little latch, some kind of dead-end bolt system, okay? So what we have to do is when you discover what door you have, you want to take the end of your Allen tool and you want to just hit the top, middle, and bottom. And what you're looking for is the giveness of the door. If it gives, there's no locking device there. If it's solid, then there's something there. So just take note that there is a secondary locking device. And then you're going to have your, over here on the door, you'll see about halfway down, so you'll have your deadbolt and your regular turn knob. Outer doors, same thing. They're made of wood, steel, and glass. They're still going to have the stop the rapid frames to keep the door from going past a certain latch or past the latch. Locking mechanism ranges. There again, could be your slide latches, your deadbolts, or just your door knobs. Alright, so here's going to be a video that I found. It's credited to Miami Beach. I thought it was pretty cool. And let me see real quick. It's going to be a video showing us how to do forceful entry, okay?
In this video, we will focus on a basic fireground skill, single-person forcible entry using a set of irons. important skills involved in forcible entry is the ability to size up the possible and actual entry challenges and arrive at the entry location with the appropriate tools for the job. How we force a door depends on fire conditions. If the structure is heavily involved, some damage to the door is acceptable, but we still need to consider door control and flow paths, as well as the effects that the lack of both can have on fire conditions. Additional key factors to consider with forcible entry size up include the type of material the door and frame are made out of, the location of the hinges, and the intended direction of travel, and the location and types of locking mechanisms installed. While not always referred to as strike, gap, set, force, this has always been the traditional method for over 30 years. Use the adze end of the Halligan for outward swinging doors. If you need to create a bigger gap to insert the Halligan, use your flat-headed axe as a wedge and drive it in to create the larger entry point. Drive the adze in until it hits the door jamb. Begin pulling back on the fork end to manipulate the adze to pass through the door and door jamb while still driving the adze forward. Pull the fork end away from the door, applying leverage to the adze and forcing the door. For an inward swinging door, begin by striking the door high, at the midpoint and low, to assess for strong holds potentially indicating the location of locking mechanisms. Create a gap for your forks. Insert the Halligan with the bevel of the fork facing the door frame while avoiding driving the tips into the frame itself. Drive the tool in until the top of the vehicle, also known as the crotch, is no longer visible. Force the adze and spike end of the Halligan toward the face of the door until entry is gained. The vast majority of doors you will encounter can be forced with little effort and little damage. More often than not, if you choose the proper technique for the door construction and consider the tool's design, it's usually faster, more efficient, less damaging, with more reliable results.
Alright guys, so this time what we're going to do is we're going to go out here and demonstrate a forcible entry on the in-swinging door. If we could get the two guys to go ahead and really quick get your full PPE on, all with a face mask and an airbag, and the rest of us will kind of go out. Y'all make it quick.
Grab my bags.
Guys, go ahead and just, yeah, go ahead. Continue. said in the video, what we want to do, observe what door you've got, make sure there's no fire behind it, check for any locking mechanisms, and then we're going to do forcible entry on a locked door. Strike, strike, drive. All right, and at this point, you would have either another team or somebody with a charge line in case fire does come back out, given your fire situation, okay? All right, good job, guys. Go ahead and break down. This concludes the class. We're gonna go in and give a test on what we've learned.